Jen. So many queries and repetitive queries you have sent. We just answer them. Mr. Keshav Kothari, good morning. P. Vishnu is also saying Happy Ganesh Chaturvati, ma'am. Thank you, children. Same to you. Mr. Avdesh, Jyoti, Rajiv Kumar Singh, Shalini, Surya, Lakshita, Bhumika Shivangi, Lakshmi, Shrindi, Ustad Singh. Good morning, children. Manjunathan. Same wishes go to you as well. Mr. Sanjay, Sudhanshu, Pratindya, Fika. Yes, Mr. Fika N, Ziba, Sidra, Ekta, Rohan. Good morning, children. So my students enjoy me taking their names. So around 500 to 600 names are coming. So bear with me if I cannot announce all the names. Ashfiya, Kanal, Surya, Anu, Mehakpreet, Nandini, Gunchita, Mohammed, Keshav, all of you children, a very, very good morning. Definitely, we'll be starting with a new chapter of Partnership Act today. Tuti, and there is a new name, Muthuraman. Good morning, Muthuraman. Prateek, Sheetal, Isha, Vibhuru, Kushi, Sanchita, Gareja, Dirkesh Gupta. So children, as always promised, let me just answer your queries, which I have noted down last time. So Manvi Khanna, I couldn't read her name right now. I hope she's there, or whenever she hears to the recorded lecture, she has sent a query number of time for MCQ 24 of page number 2.15. So this was basically for your Sale of Goods Act. So page number 2.15 and question number 24. A person who buys or agrees to buy goods is known as consumer, buyer, both A and B, none of the above. So why don't my students tell us the answer so that we can have a good test of yours, and whether Manvi can also get the answer for the same. So what do you call the person who buys or agrees to buy? Consumer, buyer, both, or none of the above? So you have to tell me what should be the correct answer for this one so that we can share the same. Yes, students, I'm waiting for the answers to come from your side. What will you call them? I think this is a very simple, basic question. I don't know what error or what problem you face. The very good, excellent. Kunal, Jia, Gunjan, Divesh, Shweta, Kare, Gunchita, Ekta, it's buyer, absolutely correct. I think somebody who has asked this question might be having a doubt. Why not buyer and consumer? So if you have that doubt, let me just clear your doubt, because, you know, in sale of goods, the terminology that we are using in order to define the person who is buying the goods is a buyer. So under Consumer Protection Act, we might be using a different word. There, consumer and buyer might be having the same meaning. But the question was just to confuse you that whether you will try answering only the buyer. So Mohammad Sahil Khan is saying buyer because consumers use it. Excellent. That is also good. So Kostov did the same thing, both A and B. So this is why I think the problem has come. Miss Surujana, you're also wrong when you say consumer. So why wrong? Actually, if I try to apply practical knowledge, consumer and buyer, you must be thinking that they're one and the same thing, because consumer is the one who is going to consume the thing. So buyer is also buying it for consumption or maybe for gifting or whatsoever. But what you have to remember is that under Sale of Goods Act, we only talk about seller and buyer. Have I ever told you that the seller which we are dealing is also known as trader? We might have talked about a mercantile agent, but we have never used different terminology. So this is the simple thing that you have to remember. Okay. Another two queries were from Partnership Act 1 only. Ishan and Rohan, I have noted your queries, and many other has also sent. Diksha also had sent the same one. Okay, there was a question, MCQ 12. Somebody has asked on page number 303.15. So Mr. Pavan is a nominal partner in the partnership firm. So he's not entitled to share the profits. Is he entitled to share the profits? He can participate in the conduct of business. He is not liable to third parties for all the acts of the firm. So what a nominal partner has the rights to do, can you just tell me? He's not liable to third parties is absolutely incorrect, because I told you nominal partner is always liable. He never takes participate in the conducts of the business, and he also not get the share of the profit. So what should be the correct option? The correct option is 12A. So it should be 12A is the correct option. That is, he is not entitled to share the profits. Another one was MCQ 3. I don't know what was the doubt in 3. It is so simple. So MCQ 3, children, you have to answer me. The most important element in partnership is business, sharing of profits, agreement, or the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. Now, why examiner is trying to ask you this question? Because this is the thumb rule in order to justify any partnership firm. When we differentiate it with the co-ownership, when we differentiate it with the association of person, this is the basic principle that needs to be applied. But when I ask you what is section 6, the true test, then all the three elements must together be present in order to conclude it as a partnership. But the most important element here, he is just asking you, out of these four, what is the most important? So most important is the principle of mutual agency. And today also we'll be talking at length about the principle of mutual agency. Okay, let me just check out if we have done all. I think there was a question number 26 also somebody has asked from sale of goods. So let us take that as well. The question number 6 is again very interesting. If X commissioned Y an artist, this is for sale of goods, children, page number 3.15. Sorry, 2.15, question number 26, I've noted up. Okay. If X commissioned Y means he has hired Y or he's paying Y an artist to paint a portrait of A for $200. And Y is using his own canvas and paints. Then what it should be? My students have to answer me. Is it a contract of sale, contract of work and labor? Or it should be, yes, Shivangi, Rahul, Sanjana, all of your answers are correct, Lisa. That's correct. So it should be contract of work and labor, hire purchase. Without cheating, you have to answer me. I know you're very smart enough. You have the answers in front of you. But let me see how well you apply your brains. And also give me why. Okay, also give me the answer for 26 number. Why should also be given. Keshav Kothari, where you have take sharing of profits. I told you it should be mutual agency. The most important thing is mutual agency. Rajiv Kumar Singh, that's absolutely correct. Faizan and there was another one. Chitrang Sharma, good morning. And the wishes to you both as well. Okay, I'm waiting for the answer. Work of contract of work and labor. Somebody saying hire purchase agreement. Lakshita, what happened to you? It's not at all hire purchase. It was actually the choice to be made between A and B. Contract of work and material. Most of you have answered the same, which is actually the correct answer because he's using his own canvas and paint. That was the underlining line. I am not selling you the entire canvas. You have just hired me to paint a portrait for yourself. So the correct answer is 26 part B. You can check over here as well. It is 26B. That is contract for work and material. Children, where I am selling you something, remember that false teeth that the person has made. He's also giving you the product along with his talents and skills that he has applied. That is a contract of sale. But where I'm just painting for you, I'm just working, providing a work and contract of work and labor, then it is not a contract of sale, only the efforts for which I have been paid. Absolutely correct, Lakshita. You don't need to be sorry, bacha. This is how what we are learning, okay? Nitil Soni, that's correct. Bhumika is also correct. Priyanshu, Kushdeep, all of you are correct. Yes, Mr. Kostub, that's absolutely correct answer. Ali Hussain is also correct. Yes, excellent. Then it would have an Ali Hussain. I'm very impressed with your answer. Then it would have been only contract of labor. It is work and labor because he's using his own canvas as well and material. Very good. All right. So now, children, we have had a quick revision through your queries. That's why I noted down your queries. Today also at the end of the class, if you still have any queries, make me mark them down. And this is a new thing that we have started up. For the first 10 minutes, we can solve whatever MCQs and queries you have so that we don't get interrupted in between the lesson. Okay, so let us start. Yes, Kunal Jain, you have sent a big list of queries. We'll have to read it and then you remind me at the end of the session. Voluntary contractual nature basically means you should be entering into partnership out of your voluntary choice. The way we told you in sale of goods, it should not be a compulsion. It should be a willingness that should come from your side. And that's it. This is the same thing that you have written again and again. Section 6, determining whether a group of persons is not a firm or whether a group of, what have you written? Group of, whether of group is not a partner, still head to the real intention. So, Mr. Kunal Jain, your question is not very clear. You have simply written section 6, determining whether a group of persons or not, or a firm or group of persons. So, I think you have missed upon something. So, why don't you just remind us about the same point once again later on? Vivek Kumar is also now coming up with MCQ 11 3.15. So all these things at the end now. Okay. I just now told you that remind me at the end. अब आप लोग अभी शुरू हो जाएंगे तो फिर हम आज वाला chapter रह जाएगा फिर हम. Okay. Don't worry. I have noted down Vivek Kumar and Kunal Jain. We'll take up your queries. Kunal, you need to send your question again. It's not clear. Saima is still asking the difference between partnership and co-ownership. So co-ownership, child, co-ownership basically means when you and me, Saima, you and me are jointly owning a land. Say, for example, we have taken a property in New Delhi and there is a plot of land which you and me have signed an agreement that we jointly own this property. So you paid 50,000, I paid 50,000, we jointly paid 1 lakh for that property. So now we both become co-owners of that property. So co-owners basically means we are jointly owning that particular property. Now what happened? We gave that property on rent, and whenever the rental incomes came, you and me are 50% owners. So whatever rent, say we earned a rent of 5,000 every month. So 5,000, 2,500 will go to you, 2,500 will come to me. So are we into any partnership? Law says this is simply a case of co-ownership. Why it is not a partnership? Because there is no presence of mutual agency over it. Can you say that Saima is doing some business and I will be liable because I am holding a land with her? No. We are just having the ownership for that land, and out of that land, we are eating the profits, we are earning the income, and we are enjoying that. Okay. So now, Abhinav Kumar, patient. First listen and then I'll answer that as well. So coming back to the same point, and in partnership, co-ownership is different because partnership, you are having a business motive, you're earning profits, and that is the only major thing which you're not having in the co-ownership, and neither mutual agency is present. Now, Kunal Jain is again asking, ma'am, please explain whole of section 6. So section 6, basically, last time I'm telling all of you, many of you have raised this question. So section 4 tell you the 5 essential elements of partnership. Section 6 simply tells you that these 3 are the true test of partnership. Prima facie evidence is you and me, suppose me, Kunal and Abhinav, we have formed a partnership firm. So Abhinav also gets the profits, Kunal also gets the profits, Harleen ma'am also gets the profit. 3 of us are 2 or more than 2 persons. Yes, ma'am. We are doing business. Yes, ma'am. Are we sharing the profits? Yes, ma'am. And are we having an agreement? Yes, we have an agreement. And whatever Abhinav does the purchases, I will be held liable. If I make payment to somebody, Kunal and Abhinav will also be liable. So if principle of mutual agency is present, so it's a partnership firm. But law says sometimes we have to determine on the basis of KD Kamath and in other case law, we simply had to see that even if one person has been given the whole of the entire borrowing pass, one person is having the entire management in his own hand, then also if the principle of mutual agency, it says that is the conclusive evidence. That is why in that MCQ we just did, that is the most important element. Mutual agency तो होना ही चाहिए. बट आप मुझे बताइए अगर म्यूचुअल एजेंसी है और एग्रीमेंट ही नहीं है, in another case law that we did, there were no records, there was no agreement, then also it does not justify your point. So all the 3 points, agreement, sharing of profits and mutual agency combined consecutively, conclusively, all of them has to be collectively applied in order to term it as a partnership firm. All right. So Abhinav Kumar, you're asking, ma'am, explain types of partners. Refer to the recorded session. The previous one you must have missed. We have explained each and every type of partner. I will not be repeating the entire session again. Otherwise, we'll be left in this topic. Any particular point you want to ask, you can feel free to ask. Samriti, again, you're asking about incoming and outgoing partners. In one line, I'm going to tell you. A, B, C are the firm. D joins the firm on 5th September 2022. So D is the incoming partner, somebody who is joining the firm. Now A, B, C and D are the partners from 5th September onwards. A left the firm. A is retiring the firm or he has died. So when the partner is going out of the firm, it is known as outgoing partner. Thank you, Lakshita. Mohammed Sahil Khan, sub-partner is the topic which we'll be covering today. So not to be answered now. So nominal partner, those who are asking, is the partner who just lends his name and is not participating in the profits and the conduct of business. The only thing in case of nominal partner is that he will be held liable to third parties. Why he is held liable to third parties? Because it is because of his name and reputation that you are getting business. Therefore, he becomes liable. All right, Ms. Ziva. Mr. Siddharth, all clear now? Yes, definitely, Mr. Keshav Kumar Kothari, that can also happen. And all the girls are also part of the HUF member. Mr. Ali Hussain, then it will not be considered as a partnership. That is what we just discussed. Agreement is the basis for having any partnership. So if you and me entered into partnership, but we do not have any records, we have not signed an agreement only, then how will we conclude that we have the relationship of mutual agency? So agreement has to be there. It is the basis of the partnership form. All right, children. Now, with your due permission, let's proceed further. Otherwise, it's already 11:20. We have to start a new chapter also. Okay. So today we'll be covering, since you have all learned about the mutual agency also, you have learned how the partnership is set up. Now we'll be talking about the topics about the rights and duties of the partner. Children, as we all have certain fundamental rights which are given to us in the Constitution of India. Have you read in civics? Most of you would have read about certain fundamental rights, right to speech, right to information. The way Constitution has given us the rights, similarly, partnership also gives certain rights and duties to a partner. What do you think can be a duty of a partner? His duty will be to do the business. Definitely, I have signed a partnership with you. I will be doing business. But can I try to cheat you? Can I try to do any frauds when I'm doing the business? Definitely not. Why? Because that is my duty in order to be respectful, careful, and be utilizing the property of the firm for the purpose of business, performing my duties diligently, not to cheat my partners. So there are certain duties, general duties of the partners which have to be learned under Section 9. And what are the rights of the partners? We have to understand both the rights and duties of the partner. Students, I'm not reading your queries, so please now leave the queries and come back here. Otherwise, we'll not be able to finish this class. After that, we have to see relation of partners with the third parties, how the partners are related with the third parties. Say ABC are the partners in a firm and they are dealing with Mr. C. So Mr. C, who is a supplier, who is a dealer, who comes and deals with the firm, that is the third party. So how my relationship actually gets affected with the third parties, this is what we need to go through. Implied authority of a partner. What is the meaning of implied authority? पहले तो आपको meaning पता होना चाहिए. What is the meaning of authority? Authority means power. So the partner has certain rights, the partner has certain duties, and the partner also has certain powers. Authority, the partner has been given an authority that he can, do sale and purchase on behalf of firm. He can take various business decisions. All these powers are given to the hands of partners. But implied authority specifically tells you Section 19 to 27, where the restrictions are applied by the court. Law has applied few restrictions that partners cannot exercise their authority in these basic points. So 7 to 8 points will be discussed in the class today, where we'll be learning that in these points, partner does not have the authority. Unless and until a partnership agreement provides for it, you cannot. And partners coming in and going out, I just explained you who are the incoming and outgoing partners. Same will also be discussed at length in the class. We'll be dividing this chapter into 2 levels. We'll try to finish off rights and duties and implied authority today, and incoming and outgoing partners and relationship with third parties. Half of it today and half of it in the next session on Friday. Now, first important topic, section 9 tells you about what are the general duties of partners. Children, general duties of partners is very, very interesting. It says if you have joined a partnership firm, say for example, A, B, and C has joined a firm and they have made a firm, ABC Associates. Now, don't you think that all the partners should be just and faithful and give true accounts and complete information? Say for example, one of the partner, Mr. A, is handling all the accounts of the firm. And whenever B and C tried to check in the accounts, A tried to erase some entry or is trying to make a fake entry. Is Mr. A doing his duties in a just and faithful way? Yes or no? Absolutely no, ma'am. Why? Because he cannot cheat the firm. So in simple language, the partners cannot cheat each other. They cannot do any kind of fraud. They have to be just and faithful, means they have to be true and honest to each other. So wherein in this example, Mr. A is trying to hide the accounts, he's trying to raise the entries. Law says that this cannot be done. The partners have to perform their duties in good faith. Attending their duties diligently. What is the meaning of diligently? Diligently means very carefully. Now, if ABC are having a firm, and don't you think that they have to take care of all the agreements, all the documents which are lying on their tables and desks should be placed very nicely. Say, for example, ABC Associates have a meeting with the dealer, Mr. X, and they have prepared whole of the file in order to carry that file for having a dealing with Mr. X. Now, it's responsibility of all the partners to take care of this particular file. You cannot say that this file was lying loose on the table and it got lost. The papers just got torn away. As a sole proprietor, tell me honestly, अगर आप entrepreneur हैं, एक sole proprietor है, अपना business करते हैं, तो won't you take care of your stuff? Won't you be very careful while performing your duties? Obviously, because you're the whole sole owner and you have your own office, you have your own cabin, and you will try to take care of each and everything. Even if a pencil fall down, you'll pick it up because you own that pencil. Everything is yours. Similarly, law says in partnership also remember to perform your duties diligently. Don't think that it is Mr. B's chair, I can break this also. We should respect each other's property brought into the firm. And I told you last time also, it becomes the joint property of the firm. So all the partners should perform their duties diligently and carefully. They should not destroy the property. They should take care of the documents. They should keep the tables neat and clean, and nicely all the documents, paperwork should be kept of the firm. Number 1 is honest and faithful, and number 5 is duties diligent. Second point says to indemnify the firm for any loss. So to indemnify, you can write down, children, the meaning to indemnify means to compensate. What is the meaning of indemnify? Means to compensate the firm for any loss caused by him during the conduct of the firm's business. Now, how he can occur a loss while doing a business transaction? Say out of these ABC partner, Mr. A went to purchase certain quality of furniture for their office. So there was a demand of a bigger table. They need some nice furnished furniture for their new office that they have opened. And they fixed up the budget of rupees 15,000 for this furniture table. Now this Mr. A, Yankee dude, he went to the shop to purchase the furniture for business firm, and he liked the table worth rupees 18,000 very much. He said, this is more comfortable. Most of the time I'm sitting in the office, I can just spread my legs the way I want, and this table of 18,000 is very smart. And although the budget which was fixed for 15,000, he spent 18,000 for the particular furniture. Now, don't you think that the firm has suffered a loss because of his business nature transaction? There was a limit set, there was a budget for which it was set. So what is the amount of the loss? Let me even see if you're understanding or not. So tell me the amount of loss that the firm has suffered because of this transaction. Can we say the firm has suffered the loss? Yes, ma'am, the firm has suffered a loss. Excellent. So what is the amount of the loss suffered by the firm? 3,000 will be considered as the amount of loss suffered by the firm. I'm just taking a random example, children. Provided all the other terms and conditions are satisfied, we are assuming that it was written in the agreement that you cannot purchase the office furniture outside the preview of rupees 15,000. So when we have set up this restriction, this limit, loss of 3,000 because the firm has to pay extra. Excellent, all of you. Priyanshu, Manvi, Stuti, Minakshi, P. Vishnu, Aditi, Anjana, Rohan, Saima, Kaire. Great. So yes, the firm now, you need to pay this rupees 3,000 to the firm. Mr. Ray should pay out of his own pocket this rupees 3,000 because the firm has suffered a loss because of your actions. अब आप पूछेंगे मैम क्यों पे करना है? Because this was my general duty not to go outside the preview of books of accounts. So since I have made a mistake, so now I need to compensate the firm for the same. To contribute the losses of the firm in equal promotion. So I told you if a firm is having profits, they should share it in the profit sharing ratio given in the agreement. If they're having losses, they should also be shared either in the profit sharing ratio. If it is not given, then equally the losses have to be borne. You cannot say that Mr. A is a very royal, rich person. He will not bear the losses. Only B and C will bear the losses. Not at all. It is your duty to contribute. It is not something that you're doing me a favor. It is your general duty that you have to pay for the losses of the firm. And the last one is not to assign his own share to some other party. Now, this is your actual case of sub-partnership. So when we do sub-partnership, section 29 in detail, we'll understand. As of now, simply remember that if A, B, and C are partner in the firm, 1:1:1, so A cannot say that 1/3 of my share I'm assigning to Mr. D. So unless the other parties have consented, it is your general duty that you cannot just pick up your share of profits and you assign it to somebody else. This cannot be done. All right, so general properties, duties of partners are clear. I have a descriptive case study also for you today to teach you how to write, but since you have already taken so much time in your questions, so we'll come back to this little later. Let us first complete the rights of the partners. So we have just understood what is my duty to perform my duties nicely, diligently, honestly, and all the examples given in the study material. Go through those examples also. Now we are going to understand what are my rights. Right to take part in the conduct of the business. Now, this is something very, very interesting. Let me take you in the study material because then under section 12, subsection A, many of you start having a doubt. So let us directly do it from the study material. All right, let me just open the study material for all of you. I hope it's visible. All right. So we just discussed all these duties. No fraud can be caused. A partner committing fraud in the conduct must make good the loss sustained by the firm. So abhi aapne mujhe bata diya tha rupees 3,000 for the loss suffered by the firm. So we need to make good the loss. Make good the loss means to compensate. So you can write down to make good the loss means to compensate the firm for any loss occurred due to his conduct. Also, another rights and duties by a contract between the partners. Now, this agreement in restraint of trade is very, very interesting. You must have read under section 27 of the Indian Contract Act that a partner, nobody, if you're leaving any contract, if you have been in a contractual relationship, So you must have learned that if you leave that particular firm, you cannot do a competitive business of the similar nature. So here it says the contracts that the partner shall not carry on any business other than that of the firm while he's a partner. So you cannot do any competitive business. You say Mr. Ray is already a partner in ABC Associates in having a departmental store, and just across the road, Mr. Ray set up his own departmental store also. It says partner cannot carry on any business other than that of the firm. That means he should only be carrying that particular business while he's a partner. He cannot have a competitive business in competition to the firm in which he was a partner. All right. So all these points you should remember as duties. His duties is to access and inspect the books of accounts. These are the rights that we're going to talk. So his duty to access the books of account, do you think that he can audit the books of accounts? See, children, there is a difference between accessing the books of accounts and trying to do an audit. He should not be suspicious of the other firm members. Say ABC are the partners in a firm, and Mr. A always try to come and fidget with the accounts, that whether it is being maintained properly, have you made the entry or not, have you given the deductions or not. So always pinpointing should not be there. Just a normal inspection of the books of accounts can be. So if you ask me, ma'am, can the partners see the books of accounts? Is their duty to check the books of accounts? So duty is there to inspect the books of account, but you should not be raising suspicions about another partners. All right. So every partner should be consulted while decisions are being taken. They should have the books of accounts access, but you should not be judging another person's decisions. And in case of the death of partner, his legal heirs or representatives shall have the right to inspect the books of accounts. So say, for example, A, B, C are the partners and one of the partner just died. Let's assume Mr. A partner, has died. Now, who are the legal heirs or legal representatives? Say, for example, his son can be his legal representative. Somebody who has inherited the business from him, somebody who is ancestral property goes to. So legal representatives, like you appoint a nominee when you open a bank account. Similarly, upon a death of a person, a legal representative or somebody who was authorized to work on his behalf. So legal representatives generally can be assumed to be his son or any relative of Mr. A who was assigned as a legal representative in the books of accounts. Now that person, Mr. A's legal representative, will come and he will try to check the books of accounts. Why do you think, children, he is trying to access the books of accounts? If Mr. A has died in the event of death of a partner, why his heirs means uske bacche, और लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव मींस अगर उसका कोई लॉयर अपॉइंटेड था या फिर किसी लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को उसने अपॉइंट करा हुआ था, और इफ ही हैज अपॉइंटेड समवन एज टू एक्ट एज एन एजेंट, shall have the right to inspect the books of accounts and even the copy of any books of the firm. So my question to you is point number section 12 point E, why the legal representatives would try to access the books of accounts? Let me see your understanding. Sunny Buddhawale, I just explained you, indemnify means to compensate. Excellent, Miss Anushka Agarwal was the first one to answer the same. To get the right share of profits, that means unless and until Mr. A, the partner who has died, his share of profits, his entire share in the business is not paid. So his heirs means his son or his legal representative have the right to check and see whether the accounts which were the profits which were accrued to the deceased partners have been paid or not. Very good, Mr. MD, Minakshi, Stuti, Tanish, Ustad, Aditi, Samriti, Avinash, Ekta, Mr. Kaime. Excellent, Mr. Ali, Manvi Khanna, Anushka Agarwal. All of you are correct, children. And I feel so proud of my students when I ask you a question out of the blue and you answer me so well. Yes, Samriti, that's also correct. So that they come to know the share of profits that he will give it to him and the transactions made by him. Very good. Priyanshu, Pooja, Gunjan, Siddharth, Miss Kare, Monica, Sameer, Sonlika, Sudhanshu, Bhumika, Nandini, P. Vishnu, Saima, that's also correct. Rohan Kumar, all of you are correct. All right, children. Now let's proceed to analysis of section 11. One by one, we'll be clearing all these points. These are the rights of the partners. So number one right is to right to participate in the conduct of the business. Now, again, you have to answer me. Let me learn from my students today how much they understand the meaning of the headings. So again, A, B, C are my favorite. They are the partners in the firm. And now there was a meeting to be held with Mr. D. And you know, this Mr. B and C being very close friends, they both went and finalized the deal and meeting with Mr. D, and they did not allow Mr. A to participate in this business. They did not even inform him, and they did not even tell him, and they finalized a meeting with Mr. D. Number one question is, can a partner do so? Don't you think Mr. A has right to take part in the conduct of business? He has been deprived of this right. So where this word is used, deprived, means uska ye right aap nahi le sakte aap usse. Any partner who has been wrongfully deprived of the right of participation has the remedy to file a suit for dissolution or a case for accounts without seeking dissolution. Now this angry Mr. A can go to the court and he can say that I want to dissolve this firm because I have been deprived. Deprived means छीन लेना. आपने उसका ये right छीन लिया उससे. Right of participation has been given to each and every partner under section 12, subsection A. You cannot wrongfully preclude them from participating in the conduct of business. Now the court can interfere. The answer is affirmative, means answer is yes. Yes, the court also have the right to interfere. Court will say that no, B and C cannot do like this. They should either compensate Mr. A by settling down his accounts, the firm can get dissolved, or he can also by injunction restrain the other parties. He can send an injunction notice to the partners that you cannot do so. So court's intervention इतना legal, इतना serious matter है. अगर आप participation allow नहीं करते किसी partner को, court can also ask for the dissolution of the firm. समझ आ गया? Right to take part in the conduct of business. Whatever examples and stories I'm sharing with you, please keep writing them up around your study material so that whenever you open up the books, you are clear about the concept. Otherwise, trust me, when you're sitting alone, you keep singing and get lost in this word wrongfully deprived only. कि समझ ही नहीं आया. आप जब story सुनाइए ABC वाली, please write it down somewhere so that you can relate it with the examples. Again, right to be consulted. So I did not consult Mr. A. I just consulted Mr. B and C. Can it be done? The answer is no. In routine matters, it is not necessary. So it says in routine matters, out of the majority must act in good faith and every partner must be consulted as far as practicable. Let's assume an example. Mr. A, B and C out of the partners. Mr. A is in UK these days. He has gone on a business trip to UK, having good time in London. And B and C are handling the entire partnership business now. And there were certain decisions to be taken which B took on his own because of the timings, hours of difference, and Mr. A was sleeping in UK at that time and B only took a call. Now law says, can you say that right to be consulted has been defeated? It was not applied. Law says in case of routine matters where practically it is not possible, it is not necessary that you have to give a call to Mr. A at any time of the hour just to take a decision. So normal day-to-day decisions which the partners take can be done even if another partner is not consulted, but largely majority of them have to be consulted. Then at least Mr. B should consult Mr. C. If A is not available, B and C should be rightly consulted. Majority has to be consulted. Another side, A, B, C, D, E are the partners. And this Mr. E is acting very smart. He just go and do any kind of business on behalf of the firm and never consult any one of them. Then law says this is not done. Section 12, subsection C will become applicable because all these four partners also have the right to be consulted. Right to be consulted, those who are asking in Hindi, consult karna means सलाह मांगना कि मैंने आपसे business final करने से पहले आपसे भी सलाह ली है कि ये सब ठीक है हम कर लें, opinion लेना. So every partner have the right to express his opinion, अपना opinion देना, अपना viewpoint देना before any matter is decided. Clear हो गया children? Right to access the books, I have already explained you, we cannot audit the books. In a bona fide way means you will not audit the books of accounts as a partner, you can only check whether the books of accounts are maintained correctly or not. And legal heirs and representatives also, I just explained you, in case of death of a partner, heirs can check whether the share of the profits which have been given on behalf of the partner who has died is correct or not. Now, section 13 talks about the mutual rights and liabilities. So this is very, very simple analysis of section 13 pe aa jao. This is very, very simple. You have been doing partnership under Indian under accounting also. So you have made your profit and loss account. There you have written sharing of profits, to remuneration, to interest on capital. तो अब हम वो वाले सारे rights की बात करने जा रहे हैं under section 13. Right to remuneration. It says generally no partner is entitled to receive remuneration in addition to his share of profits, but the rule can also be varied by an express agreement. Flexibility of agreement. Whatever partners want, they can include in an agreement, and whatever they want, they can exclude from the agreement. Now, law says section 13, subsection A clearly tells you that we don't give you any remuneration. What is the meaning of remuneration, children? What is the meaning of remuneration? Let me see whether you know the meaning of remuneration. It's all right, Mr. Sunny. All right, Devans, Samriti. That's correct. Lakshita, bona fide means that it should be in good faith. You should not be doubting when you're checking the books of accounts. A has the right to take part because he has definitely, Miss Sanjana, that's correct. Excellent. Very good, children. It is the salary. It's not commission. Nikhil Soni. Mathuraman, compensation for the work done, that's correct. Aditi is also saying commission. Generally, we mean incentive. Vivek is saying, okay, it is a kind of salary. Siddharth Stuti, that's correct. Any extra payment, that's correct. Masoom, Mr. Sunny, P. Vishnu, Manvi, Syed, Anjana, Asta, all of you are correct, children. Sonalika, Kaustubh. So basically, remuneration is the salary given to an employee. Say if A, B, C have hired an employee, Mr. D, to take care of their accounts, then obviously they will be paying him salary. So section 13 subsection A generally says that you are my partner in the firm. Why should I pay you any extra salary? But at times we give certain extra responsibility to certain partners. In that case, if we have expressly entered in an agreement that, okay, Mr. A is going to look after certain international affairs also, and we will be paying you certain remuneration for this kind of thing, then you can pay remuneration, even if we can claim that it was in the absence of contract for the payment of same. So partner can claim remuneration even in the absence of contract means if there is a continued usage of the firm. If regularly you have been doing such thing and the remuneration has been being paid to you from long time, then it is customary means it becomes your general trade and custom to pay the remuneration. All right. So actually may allowed nahi hai under section 13 subsection A, but if you have expressly entered into an agreement or it has been your general trade and custom in the course of dealings that you have been paying remuneration to the partners, then it is up to your choice and will. You may pay remuneration additional to the share of profits. Right to share of profits के बारे में हम बात नहीं करेंगे. All my students know that all the partners have the right to share the profits of the firm equally or in the profit sharing ratio. What is the meaning of interest on capital? Capital is the amount which is brought in the firm by the partners. It is the amount which is invested in the firm. So when you invest your money in shares or FDs, what is the return that you get, children? Quickly answer me. Whenever you make certain investments, mutual funds mein invest karte ho, even if you're not earning, but you must be knowing that when we make certain investments, what is the return that we get? The return that we get on investments is the interest. Very good. So interest should be paid on capital to the partners only if there is an express agreement. Good. We get interest on investments. Good. Kunshita, Aditi, Devesh, Anushka, Nandini, Tanish, Aditi, Sarujana, all of you. So we pay interest on the capital invested by the partners only if it is an express agreement. So we made an agreement and we wrote there that interest on capital will be given to the partners. It has to be given. Or any trade or custom to that effect. So regularly we have been doing such kind of business that we have been paying. It has been a general practice to give interest on capital, then you also pay. A statutory provision which entitles him to such interest. Or if there is a statutory provision, you have been registered under certain statutory act where interest has to be paid. In that case also, interest on capital will be paid to the partners. All right. What about interest on advances? Advance is a kind of loan given by a partner to the firm. Sometimes partner gives a loan to the firm. So this Mr. A is a very rich person. He thought that the firm is doing great business and there is a requirement of a loan of 50,000 rupees. So Mr. A lent rupees 50,000 to his ABC Associates firm. Now it says if any partner has made an advance or a loan to the firm, then addition to the amount of capital. So Mr. A, B and C, 10,000 capital, they all have contributed. But at a certain point of time, there was need of money. The firm was requiring certain loan. So Mr. A has given additional loan amount to the firm. Here he will get the interest at the rate of 6% per annum. While interest on capital ceases to run on dissolution, interest on advances still keep running even after the dissolution up till the date of payment. Now, this is very, very interesting. 50,000 by 6% per annum into 6 divided by 100 and into 1 by 12 per annum. That means per month, this is what you will be paying to Mr. A. So 6%, 3,000, that is for annual, divided by 12 per month. This will interest on advance will be given to Mr. A. This is in addition to his interest on capital because he has given additional loan. Now it says that the firm is dissolved. Dissolution means the firm gets closed, the firm comes to an end. So obviously you will not get any interest on capital. IOC to nahi milega. But wo kehta hai interest on advances will still continue unless the firm pays back this 50,000 rupees. So this 50,000 which you have borrowed from Mr. A, you have to repay this amount. Till the time you don't repay amount, continue paying the interest on advances at the rate of 6% per annum. Right to be indemnified. Right to indemnify the firm क्या था? अभी हमने समझा any willful neglect that Mr. A went and purchased the furniture. It was his duty to perform his duties diligently. Now he made a willful neglect. Willful means out of your will, अपनी मर्जी से. Neglect means negligence on your part. You have not done something correct. So any willful neglect, in that previous example, you purchased the furniture for 18,000 instead of 15,000. You indemnify the firm means you had to compensate the firm for any loss. Now my students will be thinking, why he will get indemnified? Can the partner also get indemnified? Say, for example, some problem occurred in the firm's business and Mr. A had really made efforts to recover those losses, or there was a fire in the firm's office and Mr. A quickly called the fire extinguisher and he made all the arrangements in the act of emergency. So this is an act of emergency. How a man of ordinary prudent man would have acted, he performed his duties and he incurred an expenditure of rupees 5,000 out of his own pockets. Now law says we're in an act of emergency, the firm was suffering a loss, there was a fire occurred, Mr. A has invited a fire extinguisher guys, he has spent rupees 5,000, tried to save all the documents. The firm should compensate also to Mr. A. That is known as right to be indemnified. आपका नहीं कोई फर्ज बनता कि आप भी अपने पार्टनर को कुछ पैसे दें, आप भी उसको इंडेमनिफाई करें, कंपनसेट करें. So अगर partner does any mistake out of his willful neglect, he should compensate the firm. If partner has done something for the firm, then firm should compensate the partner for that amount. Clear ho gaya? Now we're going to start with a very interesting topic. I'll just explain you the definition of partnership property and then we take a small break. What is the meaning of partnership property? It says all the assets, all the furniture, crockery, pencil, rubber, stationery, everything, all the capital bought in by the partners in the firm is known as partnership property. Now you can either call it joint property or partnership assets, joint stock or common stock, all of these have the same meaning. That means all the property, rights, and interests to which the firm, all the partners collectively may be entitled to. What is the meaning of firm? All the partners are collectively known as firm, right? ABC are the partners, so ABC is together known as a firm. So whatever property is belonging to the firm should include all the rights and the properties. That means all the capital brought in by the partners. And second is all the assets purchased in the course of business. So whatever has been contributed to the common business, you can write down the point number 1 means the capital bought in by the partners. And second point says assets purchased in the course of business. So जो कैपिटल शुरू से लेकर आए एंड बीच बीच में जो एसेट्स खरीदते गए वो सारी की सारी अंडर सेक्शन 14 is known as property of the firm. Now the interesting part over here is goodwill of the firm is also partnership property. Now it says whether a particular property is or is not the property depends upon the real intention or the agreement of the partners. What is the real intention in order to call it a partner property? You cannot simply say up that everything, all the property where the partners are having their meeting. Say, for example, all the partners meet at Cafe Coffee Day every day to have their business meetings. Now, will Cafe Coffee Day will also become partners property? So there is a partnership firm, ABC Associates, and they're running a business in the market somewhere in Delhi, Rajouri Garden. And there is a nice cafe in the Rajouri Garden. And whenever the partners do their business, they have their office. Say, for example, number 306 is the building in which they're having their office. So now this building 306 where they're having their office is the partnership property because all of them together own this property. But children, they are very coffee addicts, and whenever they want to do any business meetings, they go to this nearby Cafe Coffee Day and sit over there, 3 of them, and have their business meetings every day. Now, will you say this Cafe Coffee Day is also partnership property of ABC Associates just because they have their business meetings over there? Yes or no? मैं आंसर्स नहीं चेक कर रही आपके क्योंकि आप सबको पता है कि आंसर इज नो. Why? Because ऐसे तो भाई कैफे कॉफी डे थोड़ी ना आपकी प्रॉपर्टी बन जाएगी. आप कॉफी अपने ऑफिस में मंगवा के पी लीजिए. Just because you're having a coffee in my shop and you're finalizing the business deals doesn't make you the owner of my property. Real intention, the real intention of the partners have to be seen in order to call it your partnership property. Partners may by agreement convert the property of any of the partners, and such conversion will be effectual between partners and against the creditors or the separate partner property of any partner. Now, what is this line bothers students a lot? Cafe Coffee Day example is clear, all of you, that if you're just having the business meeting at somebody else's place, it will not become your partnership property. But let's make a little change in this example. Let's assume this ABC, and we have already made this A a very renowned person. So ABC are the partners in a firm, and this Mr. A has a huge big bungalow. He's staying in this big bungalow and he has many rooms in this bungalow. Outside bhi hai, andar bhi hai. So he said, you can, why don't all of you leave that Cafe Coffee Day? He's charging so heavy amount for coffees every day. Let's start having a business properties every day in one of my cabins in my own home. So this Mr. A is having a huge bungalow and many rooms, and one of his office cabin he has fixed for this business meetings. Now the same rule will apply. Just because we are having business meetings, this property which is owned by Mr. A will not become partnership property. But again, agreement is the crux. A, B, and C sat again on a cup of coffee, made an agreement that let's use this property as partnership property only. Now, by an agreement that they have decided that this property which belongs, this cabin which belongs to Mr. A's house, it's Mr. A's personal property, we have decided to convert it into partnership property. Now, if the partners in good faith, very important, in good faith, not at a gunshot, Mr. A के घर में जाकर गोली रखेंगे और बोलेंगे चल हमें ये पार्टनरशिप प्रॉपर्टी बनाने दे, फिर बात ये नहीं बनेगी. फिर तो मिस्टर ए सीधा जाएंगे क्रिमिनल केस के पास, कोर्ट्स के पास, एंड वी विल फाइल अ केस. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वाइडेबल बनने वाला है. In good faith, A, B, and C were so satisfied having their business meetings over there. They said that you have entire furniture set up also. Let's all contribute towards this property and let's make it a partnership property. In such case, this property, which was belonging to one of the partners, can also be converted into a partnership property. So you ask me what we have to remember over here. You only have to remember what is the real intention or agreement between the partners. Anything on which is being used as a property for the partnership business will be the partnership property. But how we have to determine real intention, kya purpose hai uska, or agreement, whatever agreement the partners have made, will decide whether it is a partnership property or not. Let's take a small break and then we'll talk about goodwill, because I know goodwill is again huge topic. So let's take a small break. Thank you. All right, welcome back, students. So I have received your queries. Dineshwar is asking, ma'am, यहाँ goodwill का use किया ही नहीं. Okay, be explaining you what is goodwill. We have not yet done the goodwill part. Okay, all those who are asking me, ma'am, will the partnership firm have to pay rent to A? So again, my dear students, if in the agreement it was written that if you are using Mr. A's property, you will pay rent, then you must pay rent. If it was silent out of mutual concern, we were having the property usage over there, then also it's fine. Okay. The meaning of goodwill, those who are asking, now we are going to take up that topic only. Somebody is asking if without proof, P. Vishnu Vardhan, if it is an oral agreement, how can we sue each other without a proof? So all the other evidences that if it's an oral agreement was made and you were still having dealings, if you have records, books of accounts were maintained, you can show how you were dealing with your suppliers, your transactions made with the suppliers. See, children, books of accounts, you are very new to your CA foundation. So gradually you will learn when you go into articleship, you'll be doing vouching, you'll be checking the audit material, how the books of the clients are maintained. Similarly, in your partnership also, you have to keep the documentation has to be done. So the bank accounts which are opened in your name, in the name of the firm, all these things help us to prove that you're carrying the partnership. And largely it is a written agreement. That's why they make that partnership deed, right? Muthu Raman is asking, ma'am, will the property converted into partnership will be definitely now it becomes the partnership assets. It will be shown as assets in the books of accounts. Thank you. Okay, Aditi, I'm glad. Ali is saying, ma'am, section 14 में interest का क्या meaning है? Section 14 में interest का क्या meaning है? This is the interest that we just talked about. Where are you saying section 14 interest? So here we are talking about, in section 14, we're talking about your partnership property. So all your interests means all your assets. If you have purchased the furniture of your own interest, of your own choice, all the interest that you're having in the business, all the assets brought in by you were here, all the property brought in by you were here, all the cash funds given by you to the firm will be your partnership property. Shivangi, right to be indemnified means right to be compensated if any loss has been suffered by the partner because he has acted in an emergency. There was an earthquake and he quickly took an action and incurred an expenditure of 3,000 to 4,000. Then the firm should compensate him. Indemnify का मतलब होता है compensate कर. Okay. All right. Reputation of the partner is goodwill, definitely not of the partner, the entire business. What is the meaning of goodwill? The reputation of your entire firm, how the firm has been doing business, how it has built its name and fame. Yes, Priyanshu, absolutely correct. Lakshita, correct. Mr. Sheikh, okay. Miss Saima, ma'am, duty to indemnify for loss. Okay, I just explained you right now. I hope you heard this point. Interest on capital is given or not, Mr. MD Barkatullah. Interest on capital can be given if it is a general trade and custom. It is again entirely up to your agreement. If you have provided in your agreement, you may pay interest on capital. If you have not provided and you don't want to pay it, then again it is up to partner's choice. Yes, Ms. Manvi Khanna, 6% is per annum is the rate which is fixed given under the law. Okay, thank you, P. Vishnu. अभिनव कुमार इज सेइंग प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ पार्टनरशिप को हिंदी में थोड़ा समझा दो, तो जब हम अभी आगे समझेंगे तो आई यूज लिटिल बिट हिंदी आल्सो. ओके, एज ऑफ नाउ हिंदी में पार्टनरशिप प्रॉपर्टी जितना भी कैपिटल आप घर से लाए हैं, जितने भी आपने एसेट्स खरीदे हैं फर्म के बिजनेस के लिए, वो सारी की सारी पार्टनरशिप की प्रॉपर्टी है. ओके, थैंक यू मिस्टर शेख बसुला. Miss Anjana, please give an example of agreement in restraint of trade. It is coming. Agreement in restraint of trade will be coming. Don't worry. Meenakshi is saying, ma'am, notwithstanding means something written in that supersedes what is written apart from this. So notwithstanding means iske ilawa. So we have to understand it in the context of the sentence, Miss Meenakshi, not just the word. Mr. Kaime, it depends upon the chapters that have been written. They have different sections. They have subsections, analysis also. So part of your CA inter, when you go over there, that time you have to remember the sections and tell what you have done. So as of now, we can leave the understanding of the sections. Okay, now let's start. Mrs. Jyoti saying separate property, मैम क्या होता है? Separate property means जितने भी assets आप jointly लेकर आए हैं. से आपने partnership business शुरू करा, you have bought the crockery from home, you have bought the furniture from home, you have PlayStation you have kept in your firm. Naughty students nowadays addicted to video games, they thought in free time we'll use a PlayStation or a television. So all these things will be a partnership property. I'm glad Miss Sanjana, Shivangi, MD, good. Now your talks are clear. That's great. Let's proceed ahead with the partnership property. So goodwill, we were taking up the topic of goodwill. It says goodwill is part of partnership property. It can be sold separately or along with other properties. Now, what is the meaning of goodwill? Now, your agreement in restraint will also get clear. Just pay attention. Now, I'm not looking into that, your query. So stop writing and come back here. See, children, if ABC associates, my favorite have become ABC associates. Okay, let's take PQR associates. Bore ho gaye na ABC sun kar. If PQR associates have been doing business in the market from last 25 years, so having a line of business and in a partnership from last 25 years, don't you think that they have built a certain reputation in the market? So law says wherein you have built such a kind of reputation, a name, fame, you have become very famous from last 25 years. You have been carrying the business in this, say for example, we were in Delhi. So in Khan market, you're doing a particular kind of partnership business and now your products have become very famous. You have carried a reputation over a period of time, over the years of experience, you have built a reputation. So law says goodwill is not defined anywhere. You cannot find the definition of goodwill. It is the value of reputation built in respect of profits expected in future above the normal level of profits earned belonging to the same class of business. So the same class of business people who are running the business from last 20 to 25 years, uske basis pe hi aapki value of goodwill determine hoti. He says goodwill is also property of the firm. Why we are studying goodwill? Because goodwill is also the property of the firm. Goodwill is also the property of the firm. So that's why the confusion comes now. What is the goodwill, ma'am? It's a property of the firm, but what is actually goodwill? So goodwill is the reputation which the partners have earned over the period of time, having years of experience, and that is the value. It is the, for example, if you sell your business tomorrow, then you get the benefit and you get the payment for this goodwill also. You must have done in accounts when you sell the business, purchase consideration is computed, and in that purchase consideration, the other parties pay you for the amount of goodwill also. So to have the goodwill of business sold for the benefit of all the partners means whatever reputation we have built over the years, we charge the payment for that as well. If you are selling your business to me, I will say that what is goodwill? I can't see any goodwill. Okay, goodwill dikhai nahi deti. It is intangible asset. It is the reputation. We are charging for our goodwill of the firm also because over the years we have built the reputation. So now we want to earn the money for that for the benefit of all the partners. So it can be sold separately or along with the other properties. So whenever you're selling the properties of the partnership property are sold, we also charge for the goodwill of the firm. Make an agreement with the buyer that such partner will not carry on the business similar to that of the firm within the specified period or specified local limits, and notwithstanding anything contained in section 27. It means, those who were asking the meaning of notwithstanding means section 27 में जो भी लिखा है उसको ये चीज spoil नहीं करेगी. Notwithstanding means section 27 is separate. We are here talking about that any agreement with the buyer, partner will not carry on the business similar to that of the firm, and notwithstanding means section 27 separately mention about the agreement in restraint of trade. Reference is coming from there only, but here we are talking about a different concept. Here we are simply telling you the agreement will be valid if the restrictions imposed are reasonable. Now, ma'am, what are these restrictions you are talking about? Let us understand the restrictions. So this PQR associates, they have sold their business and now they're closing this firm, and they have also sold the goodwill of the firm. Now, this one of the partners, and they were running the business from last 25 years. So they have charged from the new buyers about for the goodwill also. Now, one of the partner, Mr. P, after leaving the firm, sets up the similar kind of nature of business and in the same lane. So PQR associates were doing the business in the Khan market for the same time. Now they're selling off the business, closing the business, and this one of the partner in the same place. Specified limits means usi local limits ke andar andari he set up his own similar kind of business. What will happen? All the clients which were coming to PQR will start coming to Mr. P. Mr. P is already very well aware of the types of business and all the secrets, all the tips which they were sharing in that business. Now he is already aware. So law says यहाँ पे restriction लग जाएगी buyer के ऊपर. Whosoever is purchasing this business or even one of the partners, they cannot carry on the same business. For how long? For a specified period. If I say maybe for 5 years or for 6 years or 10 years. But if I say you cannot carry on the same business for 20 years, this is unreasonable restriction. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. Within the local limits, okay, I said don't carry on the same business for 5 years in this Khan marketplace. Not for lifetime, just to build a gap so that now this partnership form is over. Any other person after few years or after few limits, you can set up the similar business. Restrictions have to be reasonable. And why they does so? Section 27 आज पढ़ना, मुझे लगता है आप लोगों ने अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ा, रिवाइज नहीं करा हुआ, इसको रिवाइज करो. It typically tells you about all the restrictions imposed in case of agreements and restraint of trade. It specifically tells you over there, if you're closing any business, you cannot set up a competitive business to your previous ones. Otherwise, all the provisions will be applicable. Here he's saying notwithstanding anything, means section 27 was separate in reference and in context to partnership. Maybe you cannot have a similar kind of form if you're selling off your goodwill to another buyer. And property of a partner, we have already understood, where property of A was exclusively belonging to A. It does not become personal property of the firm's property merely because it is used for the business. Such property will become partner's property only if there is an agreement between the partners. Clear ho gaya? Now, what is the meaning of application of the property of firm? Children, can I use the property of partnership firm for my own exclusive purpose also? It says the firm's property should be exclusively used for the purpose of the business. Let's take a very interesting example over here. This PQR associates, they have kept a car for their business purpose. So whenever they go for their business meetings or for their client meetings or for any other purchase and sale of goods for their business, they use this business car. Now, if Mr. P gives this car on hire and start charging rental incomes, is it fair on part of Mr. P? Or Mr. P took this car for his own personal trip? ने सोचा आज छुट्टी का दिन है तो मैं कसौली चले जाता हूँ, ऑफिस की गाड़ी ले जाता हूँ, पर्सनल कार के पर्सनल पर्पस के लिए यूज कर लेता हूँ. Can Mr. P do so? Yes or no? Section 15 will become applicable. Can we do this? Yes, children, can Mr. P do this? Can he use the car of business for his own personal motive, or can he lend this on hire and on the rental income? Please answer me. No, ma'am, he can't use the car for his own personal purpose. Miss Manvi says it's unfair and should indemnify the firm. Okay, that's good. He's not allowed because he cannot use it. Samriti is also good. Gunshita, Daneshwar, Pratindya, Samriti, Aditi, Ronit, MD, Anjana, Manvi, Sonali, Kare, Mahipal, Ali, all of you correct. Avinash, Anushka, Vivek, Anjana, Rohan, Chanchal, Muthu Raman, all of you are correct. Why? Because simple answer, section 15 will become applicable. The property of the firm should only be used for the business of the firm. All right, children, now let's go back to the presentation. So the rights of the partners we have already done. Partnership property, section 14 and 15, we just understood. Examiner can give you such kind of questions where P gave firm's car on rent and try to earn the higher charges. Is it possible? So you will say that section 14 tells you about the property of the firm. It has to be applied only for the business firm. Here, Mr. P is doing the wrong thing. You cannot use the property for your own personal purpose. Now, what is the meaning of personal profits earned by the partner? Section 16 is very interesting and very important also. So all of you pay full attention over here. It says partners cannot earn any personal profits out of their partnership firm business. If a partner tries to earn any personal profits, he should return that personal profits to the firm. So case number 1 talks about, you can write it down, partners should return any personal profits earned in the firm. And case number 2 talks about your partners cannot do a competitive business and earn profits. If he does so, he must return the profits to the firm. What does it mean? It says if partners try to do any kind of competitive business with the firm itself, competing business, he cannot do any competing business means that you cannot have any competition with the firm itself. So section 16 talks about 2 things. If you are doing any kind of competing business with the firm, then also you should return the profits, whatever you have earned. And if you have earned any personal profits by using firm's name, so PQR Associates is you, Mr. P went to the market and he used PQR Associates name and earned certain profits, and he accounted for this profits in his own personal books of accounts. Law says Mr. P is bound to return that profits. You cannot earn profits on your own personal motive, for your own personal motive out of the firm's business. You should do the business for the firm, and if you have earned any personal profits, return them to the firm. This is case number 1. That is, any personal profits earned by the partners should return any personal profits earned in the firm by using firm's name. So कोई भी आपने profit अगर earn करा है by using firm's name, you must return them. And case number 2 talks about partners cannot do a competing business and earn profits. If he does so, he must return the profits to the firm. Write down these summary points and then I'll explain you the examples. Mr. P. Vishnu, after dissolution, how and what happens with the partnership assets, whether Mr. P gets that car or how the profits and how the partnership assets are divided, accordingly, we'll have to take a decision in that case. Yes, Mr. Kaime, if you are a close friend of your partners and permission has been taken, then on the personal basis, you can do whatever you have agreed between the partners. So again, the agreement is very, very important. If the consent has been given by other partners, feel free to take the car somewhere, wherever you want. Yes, Gunjan Devi, that is also correct. So I hope you have noted down these points of section 16. Now I'm erasing them and let's do the examples. It says Mr. A, B, and C have set up a partnership for refining sugar. So they have a business of refining sugar. They have set up a business partnership for refining sugar. A himself is a wholesale grocer. So A, although he's a partner in a firm and he's also dealing in a grocery market, he's a wholesale grocer. And he was very well about the variations in the sugar market. Now, these are the exact examples I have taken up from your study material so that you don't get confused. We'll understand from the study examples and then you can make own examples in your own language. So this Mr. A was a wholesale grocer, means he was dealing with the market very well. And he was very much aware about the variations, means what are the prices which are going up and down in the market. He was very well aware about those price variations also. He has already kept in stock the sugar at a low price. So hua kya hoga? Mr. A, let's assume Mr. A went to the market to purchase certain sugar for the purpose of business. And he knew that the price of sugar is going to increase. So at that time, it was, say, for example, rupees 18,000. He has bought 80 bags of sugar for rupees 8,000. Now, when later on the price increased, let's assume the price increased to rupees 20,000. And he said that he told the firm that, I have already purchased sugar for the firm. I have 80 bags lying in my godown. I will supply you the same sugar, and the price money that he was charging was rupees 20,000, because at that time the market rates have inflated and the price was 20,000. Now children, do you think Mr. A, without informing that the sugar belongs to him, ये sugar किसकी थी? 8,000 rupees की. उसने तो पहले ही खरीद ली market में से. He was a wholesale grocer. He has already kept those 80 bags of sugar with himself. And now when the firm is having the need of sugar, because they're in the business of refining sugar, he said, I have purchased it from the market. Please give me 20,000 rupees because the market rate is 20,000. Now, how much personal profit Mr. A has earned? Mr. A has earned any personal profits? Yes or no? Thank you, Mr. Vardhan. Yes, Mr. Dineshwar, this is what we are understanding right now. Even without competing business, I just gave you an example, Abhi. Here, Mr. A has earned a profit of rupees 12,000 rupees. Do you think he has cheated, children? Excellent. Pooja, Sudhanshu, Shrindi, Samriti, all of you are correct. He has tried to create a profit. So now he is bound to return this 12,000 rupees. ऐसे नहीं चलेगा. ऐसे तो आप बिजनेस कर रहे हो उनके साथ, तो म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट एंड कॉन्फिडेंस ही टूट गया ना. You cannot earn personal profits out of that. Everyone understood? So now 12,000 profit that you have earned from the firm's business, you should return that profit to the firm. Okay, all of you have written correct. It was very simple, but the context was to make you understand how he's earning the personal profits. Similarly, another example is of competing business. So let us understand that as well. A, B, C, and D have business for importing salt from the foreign ports and selling it to Chittagong. A struck certain transactions of salt in his own account. Now they were in the business of sale purchase of salt, and A has made certain transactions in his own account, which were found to be of the same as the business carried on by the partnership. So what he did, he was already a partner in the firm sale and purchase of salt. He was importing the salt outside, and now he has also done certain transactions. Let's assume he was doing his own sale and purchase salt business at national level also. Within India also he was doing this business. So instead of sending outside, now he has kept certain amount of stock on his own name as well. Now later on, when it was found, it was held that Mr. A is doing the same competing business with the partnership firm. Therefore, he must pay all the profits made by him in such business. He should return it to the firm. He is liable to the firm. Why? Because section 16 में साफ लिखा हुआ है that the firm partner cannot carry on the business of the same nature. In case he carries on the same nature of business, he should return the profits, whatever he has earned in that business. So if, for example, if you are a partner with me and we have opened up a departmental store and tomorrow we are doing sale and purchase of all those grocery items, and say one of the partner, Mr. A, has started taking the shampoos at home and he is selling it on his own also. He's doing the same business, the same products he has taken from the firm, and now he's doing the business. So law says you are trying to create a competitor for your own firm. Therefore, whatever profits you have earned, you should return it to the firm. Clear ho gaya section 16? Let's hurry up now. These are the 4 important topics that makes us understand what are the relationship of partners to third parties. Abhi tak since morning, we were understanding how the partners are related, how the duties they have amongst each other, what are their rights, how they are liable. Now we are going to understand what are the relationship of parties with the third parties. Now can you see these 2 people joining hand? One of the partner and one of the third party are joining hand. So section 18 to section 30 entirely helps in understanding how the partners are related with their outsiders, that is third parties. Let us understand with section 18. Now children, section 18 is very, very simple. Again, I'm going to take your quick test instead of MCQs. Today, I'm going to take your test here only. It says nature and extent of liability for the acts of the partner, section 18 to 27. Now, what does it mean? Section 18 says a partner is an agent of the firm for the purpose of business of the firm. Section 18 simply talks about the principle of mutual agency. हम पहले ही पढ़ चुके हैं, आपको पता ही है. A partner is an agent of the firm, and other partners are acting on his behalf. Any transaction done by one of the partner, other partners are also liable. Agency extends only to business and does not cover the works done in the individual capacity. So Mr. A and B and C are the partners in the firm, and Mr. A, out of the firm's business, booked a ticket with the travel agent for spending in holidays in Goa. So he said, good weather is starting and let's plan a trip to Goa. And now this Mr. A is going on a family trip to Goa. And he has taken tickets and other expenditure has been incurred for, say, rupees 85,000. Now, children, since Mr. A is a partner in a firm and this Mr. A failed to pay this 85,000 later on, and the angry travel agent went to the firm. They said, hello, Mr. ABC Associates, please pay my 85,000 rupees. One of the partners has taken money from, has booked the tickets and the payment is still pending. So I have read about Partnership Act. This is a principle of mutual agency. All the partners are equally liable for the actions taken by one of the partner. So now can you please pay my 85,000? So please tell me your analysis and judgment. What should be done in this particular case? Can we recover this 85,000 from ABC Associates? What will happen? Daneshwar, if the value would have decreased, then he will not be making the personal profits. So only in that particular case, if he's earning any personal profits, he need to return it to the firm. If he sell it at a lesser rate, then he has not earned any personal profit. Section 16 will not be applicable. So children, are you answering me back? Mr. Sakaldeep, then also if he's earning any personal profits, he should return it to the excess money to the firm. Why I'm not getting your answers for this one, for the travel agent one? Excellent, all of you. I have received your answers now. Ali Hussain, no, it is only an individual expenditure, not the firm's expenditure, but the better wording would be that it's a personal expenditure. Excellent, those who have written it's a personal liability. All of you are correct. Avinash, Sakaldeep, Samriti, Bhumika, Anjana. Okay, so children, here he is doing this family business trip to Goa. It is his personal expenditure. Firm will not be liable. Yes, Aditi Gupta, Sidra, Gunjan, Ekta, now I have received your answers. Yes, Gunjan Devi, that's why we taught you that mutual trust and confidence has to be there in partners. Firm will pay. Monu Singh is saying firm will pay the amount and recover from A. All right, you can do so, but my question over here is the firm liable for this? Not at all. It's a personal expenditure. Firm is not liable to pay for your personal expenditures. You are going on your family trip. Had Mr. A been going to Goa for his business trip, then yes, principle of agency will be applicable if you can utilize the agency principle only for the purpose of business, not for your individual capacity, means not for your personal things. Bala Sajal Lakshmi, absolutely correct. Soumya, Gunjan, Siddharth, all of you are correct. Mathuraman, very nice. Kare, Monica, Anjana, Rajiv Kumar Singh, Bibuhu, Jia, Sudhanshu, Kaustubh, Monu, Saima, all of you are correct. Ekta Tiwari, Aditi, Sidra, all of you are correct, children. And what is the meaning of this last line? वो भी समझा दो जरा मुझे. Agency operates against sleeping or dominant partner as well. They are too liable for the acts of the acting or ostensible partner. What is the meaning of this line? It simply says that sleeping partners are also liable for the actions of the active partners. Can I say that if I'm a sleeping partner in the firm, I will not be liable for whatever actions have been done by the active partners? No, I cannot say that. It says rule of agency simply has the same meaning, that sleeping and dominant partners also have unlimited liability. They are also liable for the actions of the firm. Clear ho gaya section 18? So authority of the partner. Now section 18 is absolutely clear. Now we are moving to a very important sleeping. Yes, Ali Hussain, Avinash, Samriti, correct. Very good, very nice. All of you have sent the correct answer. Chalo, फटाफट से सुन लो. Authority of partner. Now we are starting with a new topic, and this example I just taught you. So authority of partner means capacity of the partners to bind the others by his act. Simple. Authority क्या है? Agency principle. Whatever acts I am doing, my firm also gets bind, means my firm is also liable for the same. Does all the act of the partner bind the firm? No, only the acts related to business. Now I have written it in a very simple language so that you don't have to make your own notes. Simply learn it. No, only the acts related to business will be binding. Same travel agent वाला example दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे. Firm will not be bound because this act was done for his personal purposes. Clear हो गया? तो ये कह रहे हैं भी authority of partner का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप कुछ भी एक्शन लोगे और फर्म लायबल. आप सिर्फ बिजनेस के लिए जो भी एक्शन करोगे. से फॉर एग्जांपल इफ मिस्टर ए वेंट टू द मार्केट एंड परचेज द furniture for the business purpose, then B and C will also be liable to make the payment for that furniture. But if he is buying the furniture for his home, for his personal use, then B and C will not be liable. So can the partners use their powers or authorities freely wherever they want? It says authority can be expressed or it can be implied. If you have the normal business of sale and purchase of shoes, say one of the partners went to the market and purchased clothes instead of shoes. वो कहते हैं हमारे पास express authority होती है by an agreement या फिर implied authority by your conduct or in the usual way of carrying business. That means I don't have to tell you that you can go and do purchase and sale on my behalf. Once you're a partner in my firm, you are also free to do any kind of purchases and sales for the purpose of business. Now, one of the partner, Mr. A, instead of purchasing shoes for the business, he purchased clothes. The examiner will ask you, does the partner has an implied authority to do such an act? The answer is no, because partner can do acts only which are related to the business. Therefore, any act done outside the purview of implied authority, firm will not be held. So firm is going to be liable only for all the actions that you take for the firm for the business purpose. Out of that, firm is not going to be binding. Now, there are certain restrictions which are imposed on the implied authority of the partners. Law says that statutory restrictions. अभी कोई पूछ रहा था meaning of statutory. Statutory means given by law. Act में दिया गया है. Partnership Act is providing these kinds of restrictions. So statutory provisions or statutory restrictions का मतलब होता है something which is given under law, something which is given by their act. So these are the 8 particular cases where the partners cannot do these acts unless there is an agreement in the partnership agreement. Very simple यार. तभी तो ना LLP से भी ज्यादा simple है partnership. LLP में तो limited liability का आपको offer मिल गया, but body corporate structure के लिए आपको company के rules and regulations apply करने पड़ते. That's why people are still setting up the traditional mode of partnership, because agreement is very, very easy to be modified, to be changed, and it is only between personal relationships between the parties. We don't have to go to the ROC or company's board in order to have amendments. We simply have the flexibility of agreement is enjoyed by the partnership firm. So, हिंदी में बता रही हूँ, ध्यान से सुन लो. अगर तो partnership agreement में लिखा हुआ है, फिर तो आप ये 8 powers exercise कर सकते हो. Otherwise, law provides restrictions on this implied authority. Law की तरफ से ये 8 powers नहीं exercise करी जा सकती. In English, you cannot exercise these 8 powers unless and until you have made an agreement to that effect. So let us understand one by one what are those 8 points. Number 1, it says the partners cannot do the following acts. So what are the following acts? Cannot submit a dispute for arbitration. Now, who is an arbitrator? Stop writing the queries and listen. It's a very important topic and many important points are to be covered. So pay attention. We have limited time and I want to finish this topic. So stop writing the queries and be back here. Partners cannot submit a dispute means they cannot file a case to an arbitrator. Who is an arbitrator? Somebody who is appointed to settle the disputes between two parties. Say A and B के बीच में conflict हुआ, झगड़ा हुआ, and they go to the arbitrator. Arbitrator is the person, he is a legal body who will listen to the fights from the side of Mr. A and B and tries to resolve it. So now in partnership form, if you have such kind of disputes, you can either directly go to the courts. You cannot go to an arbitrator. So this is the restriction on their implied authority that the partners cannot file a dispute means ladai jhagda. Submit means file karna. Arbitrator means a person outside the court who tries to settle your disputes. So in partnership, you cannot file your case with the arbitrator unless your agreement provides for that. Can you open a bank account on behalf of the firm in your own personal name? Can Mr. A says that open up a current account in my own name and this account will be the account of the firm? Not at all. You don't have the implied authority to open the banking account on behalf of the firm in your own personal name. It should always be in the name of ABC Associates because firm is having this bank account. It's not personally your account. Not to compromise or relinquish any claim by the firm. Relinquish means to end up. Compromise means to set off. पहले तो meaning लिख लो. Compromise means to set off or relinquish means to end up any claim. So for example, there was a case going on against ABC and they had to pay certain amount. So if ABC had to pay, let's assume ABC had to pay 10,000 rupees to a dealer and they had a dispute and this dispute was going on in the court case. Now law says you cannot simply strike off this claim or you can just end up this claim by one of the partners. One of the partners cannot just go and say that, okay, say for example, they had to recover this 10,000. Neither you can withdraw nor you can set off. So if you have ABC Associates had to recover rupees 10,000 from a dealer, Mr. D, write down example, ABC Associates had to recover rupees 10,000 from a dealer, Mr. D, and a court case was going on for this recovery of money. But one of the partners, Mr. A, just stood up and went to the court and said that just set off this claim. Instead of 10,000, we'll take 5,000 and khatam kar do, baki claim ko relinquish kar do, end kar do. Can Mr. A do so? The answer is no, he cannot relinquish any claim or he cannot set off any claim which has to be earned by the firm. Any single partner cannot take a call on the claim which is to be given to the firm. Mutual consent of all the partners has to be taken. You have to wait for the court's final decision. Setting off the claims cannot be done. Similarly, you cannot withdraw any suit or proceedings filed by the firm. So if firm has filed a case against someone, one of the partner cannot go to the court and say that we want to withdraw this case. You have to go by the further proceedings. You cannot take the call or implied authority on your own. To admit any liability. Similarly, you cannot accept any liability. अब वो पहले वाला केस जहाँ पे 10,000 firm ने pay करना था. So if firm had to pay 10,000 and firm said no, we will not pay, and there was a case filed in the court. Now A cannot say that instead of going to the court every day, let me say that okay, fine, we are ready to pay 10,000 rupees. Let's close this. No, you cannot do so. You have to take the mutual consent of all the partners. You have to wait for the proceedings, and you cannot accept any liability on behalf of the firm. So number one, you cannot go to the arbitrator. You cannot have a separate dispute settlement with the arbitrator. You cannot open the bank account on your own personal name. 2 points away. Next 3 points relate with the court case. Neither you can withdraw any case filed by the partnership firm, nor you can accept any liability, and nahi you can set off any claim which is to be claimed by the firm. आप ना ही फर्म का क्लेम रिलिंक्विश करेंगे, एंड करेंगे, ना ही आप लाइबिलिटी एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं फर्म की जो प्रोसीडिंग्स चल रही हैं, ना ही आप कोई केस विड्रॉ कर सकते हैं. Clear? And what are the further restrictions? Acquire immovable property on firm's behalf. There are also restrictions on acquiring immovable property. You cannot acquire any immovable property on firm's behalf. You are purchasing partnership property, you are buying it in the firm's business, it's okay, but you cannot acquire for your own house. You have taken the property and on the basis of firm's name, this cannot be done. Neither you can transfer any immovable property belonging to the firm. So any immovable property which belongs to the firm belongs to the firm only. You cannot transfer it further to anyone. And can you enter into partnership on behalf of the firm? I told you ABC associates are partners in a firm. Mr. A can be partner in number of firms, but the firm itself cannot be a partner. You cannot say ABC associates is a partner in a firm. Why? Because firm is not a separate legal entity. It is not an individual. Therefore, it cannot enter into a partnership with other partners. A partner, an individual can only enter into partnership. A firm cannot enter into partnership. Point number 8 ka likh lena. A firm cannot enter into partnership with other firms. All right, now extension and restriction of partners implied authority, section 20 we'll do, but I also want to explain you this very important thing. So I understand you all we have done so many concepts today. So I don't want to linger in upon, otherwise it will be too much learning for all of you. We can start from section 20 in the next session. So let me teach you. So many of you children keep on asking, ma'am, how to attempt descriptive questions in CA Foundation Law paper. So let us take one question that I have designed for all of you so that you can understand the concept. I give you 2 minutes, just read the question here in front of the screen. Mr. Kaime, I just summarized those 5 points. Don't worry. I will we'll have a quick revision of implied authority restrictions after this. Mr. Sheikh, I'll repeat the second point. Don't worry. Priya Darshni, you can address this admin query to the institute. Not to worry. You can ask them. Yes, Ms. Bhumika, only if we have agreed, then only they can be performed. So after this descriptive question, we'll have a quick summary of what we have done in the class today. So don't worry, even if anything you have not understood. Yes, Ali Hussain, absolutely correct. All the acts should be within the implied authority of the partner. Means the authority that you are exercising out of your conduct, you can do so only if you are authorized to do so. Okay. I hope you all have read. So X, Y are the partners dealing in the sale and purchase of electronic items. X had a friend A who had good knowledge about this washing machines. So X has fixed up a meeting with a new client Z and has requested his friend to accompany him for such a meeting and to take a right decision. During the meeting on 26 June 2018, X introduced A as his friend as his partner to Z. A remained silent and did not say anything on this. A was actively participating in the meetings and trader believed that A was a partner and they supplied 120 washing machines to the firm on credit. After expiry of credit period, Z did not get the amount of washing machines. Now Z filed a case against X and A for the recovery of prize money. Can we hold A, who was just a friend, liable for the prize under the Indian Partnership Act? Quickly send me the answers. First, you will give me the answers for this descriptive question, and then I will tell you what is the correct answer and how to write it. But as of now, simply tell me the conclusion. What should be the conclusion as per you? What should be the correct answer? Okay, Mr. Nabin, we'll go to that point little later. Saima is correct. Aditi Gupta is correct. Gunchita is correct. Ankit Mishra, absolutely correct. MD is correct. Ekta Tiwari is correct. Manvi Khanna is correct. Why others are taking so long to answer? Ali Hussain, Ronit, Balasajjan Lakshmi, excellent. P. Vishnu, Anupama, Kaima, Mr. Perit Watts, excellent. Stuti, Shweta Kalyani, P. Vishnu, Mr. Syed, Gunjan Devi, Aditi, Miss Saima, and Mr. Sakaldeep Paswan. Absolutely correct, all of you. Yes, ma'am. A is liable to pay the amount because he become partner by holding out. I was expecting section 28 also to come out from your side, but it's okay. I only told you sections are not important. So now, children, all the eyes and ears widely open and pay attention. This is how you have to write an answer. So question will come like this, the descriptive studies, and this is how your answer should look like. Concerned provision. अभी मैंने आपको अपनी लैंग्वेज में लिखकर बताया, अभी आप पूछते हो ना अपनी लैंग्वेज में कैसे, ऐसे लिखो. सेक्शन 28, माय चिल्ड्रन डोंट रिमेंबर, इट्स ओके, सिंपल लिखो एज पर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ इंडियन पार्टनरशिप एक्ट. सो अगर सेक्शन नहीं याद है तो हम क्या लिखते हैं, एज पर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ इंडियन पार्टनरशिप एक्ट. Partnership by holding out is also known as partnership by estoppel. When a man holds himself or allow others to do so, he stopped from denying the character that he has assumed upon the faith of which creditors may have acted. You can write it in your own language also. Remember the 4 points I've shown in the previous presentation. Simply write down, if the person has permitted himself or allowed himself to be believed that he's a partner in a firm, and the third party or the creditor has acted upon that faith and supplied something to the firm, then the cases are identical. Only the person to whom the representation has been made has the right to enforce the liability arising out of holding. Simple language में आपने section 28 की concern provision लिख दें. Clear हो गया? Now the facts of the case. So what is the meaning of facts of the case? Facts of the case is simply the story, summary of the story which is given in the question. A was just a friend. He remained silent on his introduction as a partner and showed active participation. Z supplied 120 thinking that A is a partner. See, na, on the basis of this interaction means usne soch karke A partner hai tabhi supply kar. Now question says that X wants to recover the prize money from X and Z. Can it be done? X and A, sorry. So conclusion will be A, the friend of X, is also liable because he is partner by holding out, section 28. Since A represent himself or knowingly represent as a partner in the firm when in fact he is not. Very important line जो आप लिखे conclusion में कि उसने represent तो करा पर actually में नहीं था. Therefore he becomes liable as a partner to Mr. Z, who on the faith of such representation has given credit to the firm. Z ने तो इसी representation की वजह से firm को credit दिया था. Therefore A becomes partner by holding out. Clear हो गया children? I hope now all my students very well aware. We have done certain mock test papers also. Radhika, Sonalika, Minakshi, Pratindya, Jia, Monu, Kare Singh, Rajiv Kumar, सारों ने ठीक आंसर दिया है. You all have written correct. Ronit, Pooja, Sidra, P. Vishnu, all of you are correct. Good, Balasajjan Lakshmi, you have written section 28 also. Nice. Very good, Muthu Raman. So children, Harnoor Kaur says, can we ask question like secretary? Yes, you can leave sections, Harnoor Kaur. It's not compulsory to learn sections. I told you earlier also. All right, children. So this is how you have to attempt your questions. Now we have still little time left for the queries. And acha, we also had to do a quick revision of this implied authority. So once again, I'm taking you to this point because many of you want to understand. Yes, why is anyways a partner Gunjan Devi? He's also liable. Here we were just understanding, can you hold A liable or not? How actually he recovers the payment? Uski headache hai. हमने सिर्फ ये बताना है भी A liable है क्या? No, you will not be asked to explain the sections and no, you can leave the sections. Good, crystal clear, Miss Anjana says that's right. Yes, Ekta Tiwari, then he will be liable to the firm. So authority, I just taught you children, it can be expressed, बोलकर किसी को authority देनी या partnership deed में written, or it is by the conduct of the normal business. So if you're doing the normal business of the firm by your acts and conducts, you are exercising your implied authority. But law says these 8 restrictions have been imposed, and somebody was asking the second point, Mr. Sheikh, you cannot open a bank account. So Mr. Sheikh is a partner with ABC Associates, and he went to Axis Bank and he said, please open up the firm's bank account with the name of Mr. Sheikh. So law says this cannot be done. You cannot have the business account in your own name. It has to be in the name of the firm. Clear ho gaya? And summary of first 5 points, you cannot take your case to the arbitrator. Arbitrator is the person like outside the court who is trying to handle your disputes. Either you go to the court when you have a fight, or at times we can go to the arbitrator. So arbitrators are the people who try to resolve the quarrels between individuals. Many a times husband and wife are also having a quarrel, and they tell them that go to an arbitrator before filing a divorce case, before directly going to the courts for your divorce. Why don't you just go for a settlement with the arbitrator? So arbitrator are the body of people, legal bodies who are handling the cases or matters outside the court. Means you don't need to go to the court. You can simply go to the arbitrators. They are the legal people. So in partnership, you cannot go to arbitrator for settling your cases. You can simply go to the court. If you have agreed in the partnership agreement, then you can. Compromise or relinquish any claim. Ab dhyan se sunna these 3 points, those who have not understand. Compromise, I told you, it means the meaning of set off of claims. So if the firm had to recover, say 1 lakh rupees from a dealer, Mr. D, and this Mr. Dealer did not pay the money, A, B, and C filed a case in the court. Now case is going on, and we are working hard to get our claim of rupees 1 lakh. Mr. A just stood up and went to the court and he said, sir, write off this claim, we don't want. Or end up this claim, relinquish kar do ya set off kar do is claim ko. Law says one of the partners cannot go and set off the claim. Firm's decision has to be taken consensuously, unanimously. ठीक है. Similarly, firm ने किसी को 1 lakh rupees देने थे. Firm had to pay 1 lakh to Mr. D. Now firm has failed to pay to Mr. D. So Mr. D has filed a case in the court. Again, this Mr. A goes and say that, okay, fine, I'm agreeing, I'm admitting. Admit means to accept. I'm accepting that the firm will pay the liability of 1 lakh rupees. So again, you have to wait for the proceedings to end and the court to give its judgment. You cannot simply go and say accept any liability in the case which is going against the firm. So neither you will accept your liability against the firm, or you cannot compromise on the liability on the amount which is to be recovered by the firm. And fourth point is you cannot even withdraw any suit or proceedings. Mr. A says, okay, I want to withdraw this case. We don't want to fight further. Then also it cannot be done. You cannot take such decisions alone on behalf of the firm. Clear, children? From the next class, we'll be starting with section 20 and we'll end up chapter 2 in the next class. Now for next 2-3 minutes, if you still have any queries, you can send. Yes, Mr. Kaime, last time we did section 28, partner by holding out. Refer to the last class. At the end, we discussed partner by holding out. That is section 28. Thank you, Miss Simriti Maheshwari. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Thank you, Mr. Sheikh. Thank you, Miss Shivangi. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Yes, Kunjan Devi, you can say like that. Thanks, Manvi. Yes, Mr. Kunal Jain, you have to take all the facts together. Then only it will be considered as partnership. You're right. Aditi Gupta is asking maximum word limit. So you have to write to the point, relevant things. You don't have to write stories as you write in your BCom exams. Brief and to the point and relevant facts. Correct bhi hona chahiye and utna hi likhna hai jitna required hai, not long story. Thank you, Radhika. Have a good day, you too. Thank you, Bhumika. I'm glad you don't have any doubts. All concepts are clear. Excellent. Balasajan Lakshmi, what is meant by statutory? Statutory means the provisions which are given by law. So statute, it's meaning of any law or act. So whatever provisions, so these kind of restrictions are provided by typically by Section 19 of Indian Partnership Act. Law is giving you such kind of restrictions. Okay, Lakshita, we'll take up Section 17 if you have not understood. Don't worry. Thank you, Nikhil Soni. Thank you, Sakaldeep. Thank you, Sidra. Mr. Nabeen, immovable property. So if you ask me, ma'am, why restriction on compromising? Why restriction? I told you it is a statutory restriction. Law has provided. So we have to learn these. Just for your understanding, you cannot transfer any immovable property, means property which cannot be taken from one place to another. You cannot have your rights to sell. You cannot use your implied authority on transferring of immovable property because that property belongs to firm. So if firm is giving the consent, you're selling off your business, you're charging for goodwill, then it's a separate story. But single partner, as you yourself, you don't have the choice to buy the immovable or to sell the immovable property on behalf of firm. All right. Thank you, Babuhu. Thank you, MD. Thank you, Ziba. Samir Singh, I explain example 6, you're saying. Okay, Samir Singh, we'll just try to take that. Definitely, Mr. Kaimi, you can underline the keywords, that's fine. Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, Balasajal Lakshmi. Thank you, Anjana. Great, my students are so happy they have cleared everything, that's nice. Kunal Jain, Section 2 generally provide definitions for your Indian Partnership Act. If you're asking, generally Section 2 talks about your presentations. Refer to what is Section 1 and 3, and if you don't understand, ask me what you want to ask in that. Thank you, Mr. Avinash. Thank you, Ekta. Yes, Ms. Tuti, in Section 16, if you're doing any kind of similar business, you have to pay for your out of the profits of the competing business. Meaning of prudent and diligently. Lakshita, meaning of prudent means the man of ordinary prudence, the man of normal intelligence. Like I told you, if fire occurs in your office, so as an individual sole proprietor, what will you do? You'll try to take care of the things, you'll call the fire extinguisher, all the steps you'll take. Similarly, as a man of ordinary prudence means as a man of normal intelligence, what will you do? So you will act the same way in the partnership also. Diligently means to perform your duties very, very carefully. I'm glad, Mr. Nabeen Kushwaha. I'm glad your query is now clear. Good. Asta, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajiv Kumar Singh. I'm glad you feel motivated by attending my lecture. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anjana. Thank you, Stuti. Kunal Jain, your homework is to come prepared with Section 1, 2, and 3. Read them and then ask me what you want to understand out of them. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sheikh. I have a doubt on sale of goods under perishable commodity, resale of goods, why the seller should return. Mr. Kostub, sale of goods, resale of goods, simply say that if you're selling the perishable commodities, you don't need to give any notice to the buyer because you have failed to make me the payment. I have become the unpaid seller. I will quickly sell off my goods because before they get rotten. In case of non-perishable commodities, you have to remember those 2 points. Either retain the profits if you have given a notice or recover the loss. Mr. Kunal Jain, if it's not in the book, well, then let's not do it. Let's not waste time something which is not given in the book. All right. Thank you, Lakshita. All right, students. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed the class. It was a great session. See you all on Friday. Goodbye.